So here's a quick and entertaining one that perfectly demonstrates the saying, rules for thee, but not for me. About a fiancée who's throwing a meltdown because her fiancé, he's insisting that she signs a prenup before they get married. He's got assets, he's got burned by previous marriage, and he wants to make sure he's safe. Well, she's throwing a tantrum. But then, suddenly grandma dies, and she collects inheritance from her grandma, and now she wants a prenup. Watch this. Title: Fiancée, a 36-year-old female, didn't want to sign a prenup with me, but then got an inheritance and now wants a prenup. He says here, a little background here is that I make around $250,000 a year. My fiancé makes around $65,000 a year. That's a problem. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. We've both been divorced. I asked for a prenup protecting my existing assets, 2 rental properties worth around $400,000 together, my retirement account, my house which I live, existing savings account, and just sentimental things. I offered to pay for a lawyer for her and make anything earned after the wedding fair game in a divorce split. Okay, very reasonable. He has a lot to lose if things go downhill if they don't do a prenup. And by the way, he's been married before. He's out of his mind doing this again, but, well, in my previous divorce, my ex took a lot that I had before we even met each other, and took a lot of things of sentimental value just to hurt me. I floated the idea of a prenup, and she was not okay with it. It hurt her feelings, and she said I was planning for a divorce if I wanted a prenup. That's another line from the Hobag Handbook. That's more like chapter 12, not the early chapters. She had this idea that when we marry, everything becomes ours. We've been dating for 4 years and had very, very few bumps along the way, so I don't see a super high risk of divorce, but I do acknowledge it's there. Anyways, I love her, and I said, sure. Smack! Are you out of your mind? You're out of your mind getting married a second time with all these assets that you got burned the first time. And now you're going to do it again the second time. And you say a prenup, she throws a temper tantrum. Let's be honest, that's what it is. And you cave. So now you're going to risk losing all that all over again. Are you nuts? Are there not any other women out there? Do you think that low of yourself, that you can't stand up for yourself? Say what happened is she called his bluff. Gentlemen, that's what happened. Her perception of him is he's weak, and that he's more into her than she is into him, and she threw a tantrum, called his bluff, and sure enough, he now agrees to no prenup. How dumb can you be? Don't be that guy. And women don't respect weak guys. Her actions show everything. She doesn't respect him, but we're just getting started here. Fast forward a couple months, her grandmother abruptly died. Wasn't expected. Grandma was quite healthy before and had a heart attack. Apparently, the grandmother left the entire estate to her, roughly $800,000 worth. Now the tables have turned, and she wants a prenup protecting those assets from me, which I was fine with. But she doesn't want to sign a prenup in return for that. In other words, Miss, I don't want a prenup. It ruins our love. All of a sudden, gets $800,000 in assets, and all of a sudden she wants a prenup. Imagine that, right? But right, miss, you don't love me pretty much. If you sign a prenup, you're setting us up to fail. Talk about a freaking hypocrite. But make it even better. She wants him to sign a prenup so he can't touch her stuff if they get divorced, but she's not going to sign a prenup for his stuff. Again, no respect, no love. She sees him as weak. That's it. How this guy is going along with this is beyond me. Talk about a fucking moron. Her reasoning is that her grandmother wouldn't have wanted her wealth to leave her direct family, and that there's a reason it was left all to me and not the siblings or parents. What a load of crap. How about the fact that this guy worked hard for his assets? She was just given this stuff from grandma. Doesn't want to leave the family. Get the hell out of here. And the prenup must not have been important to me because I threw out the idea after minimal pushback. See? I'm at a loss here. In one regard, I'm glad we had prenup discussions before it brought out these sides of us. But I'm really wondering if this 4-year relationship that has been full of nothing but love and support for each other now is even salvageable. She's not willing to budge on her own prenup like I was, and I find this whole situation very frustrating. Dude, run. You make $250 a year. She makes $65. Of course, there's been very few hiccups in the relationship. Why? Because she doesn't want to miss out on your salary, your paycheck. She had your number from the beginning. You're obviously way more into the relationship than she is. Okay? There's a problem when you have two people coming together. They're in vastly different tax brackets, if you will. Okay? You just can't trust them. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. You need two people that are pretty much in the same tax bracket, or guess what? You could get divorced. Guess what? Who's going to get all the alimony? Think about that, right? And it's unfortunate that you can be a great girl. Like, say she's traditional and very feminine and has all these good qualities that are rare nowadays. But yeah, she doesn't make a whole lot. It's unfortunate that you have to really think twice about that one, if you're the marrying type or anything like that, because you get divorced and she's making this and you're making way more. Without a shadow of a doubt, that alimony is going to her. Obviously, depending on how long you've been married. But this guy's out of his mind to marry her. And the balls she has, and I'm going to say the balls she has, you got to sign a prenup, but I don't have to sign a prenup. And she's got way more. And grandma wants to keep the money in the family. But it tells me, number one, yes, she's an a-hole and selfish. But also, she has this guy's number. And this is what happens when women sense weakness. They do not respect weak guys. So, gentlemen, number one, you're out of your mind nowadays. I mean, really, you're really out of your mind nowadays if you're thinking marriage in the 2020s, particularly if you don't get a prenup to protect yourself. And you got to be with your girl for years. And if you're making way more than her, that's another thing you got to be worried about. And also the fact is that, yes, she's an a-hole, but if you let a girl have so much power in the relationship, if she sees, and she only gets power in the relationship if she recognizes that it's way more important to you than her, you give that power away, look what's going to happen here, right? But this guy, I guarantee he's going to go along with this crazy idea, marry her, and it's only a matter of time before he's toast. And he's paying her a big alimony. Now, I have to wonder if they'll take the $800,000 in assets that she has into consideration in a divorce situation. I'm sure they will. But in terms of just earning, I'm willing to bet you the second they get married, she'll stop working. Figuring, hey, you got this, I got $800K. It's just a big mess. But nothing shocks me nowadays.